There are two sounds I will never forget. The first is the sound of a key that doesn't work. Click, click, click. Useless. The second is the sound of a phone call that changed my life. Ring, ring. And it wasn't even for me. My name is Zara. And 3 months ago, I learned that home isn't always where your family is. Sometimes, home is just a door your own parents can lock you out of. It started on a Tuesday. I had just lost my job. The company shut down overnight. No warning, no severance. I was 26, with a degree, with experience, and suddenly, with nothing. I drove home with my box of desk things in the back seat, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. Not because I was scared of being jobless. I was scared of telling them. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Khan, built everything from scratch. Dad always said, "Hard work is the only family tradition we have." Mom said, "We didn't raise you to fail." In our house, losing a job wasn't bad luck. It was weakness. It was shame. But I thought family meant you could be weak sometimes. I thought home was the one place you didn't have to be perfect. I was wrong. When I pulled into the driveway that evening, the first thing I noticed was my dad's car was gone. The second thing I noticed was the porch light was off. That was strange. Mom always left it on for me. I walked up to the front door with my key, my house key. The same key I'd used for 8 years since I moved back after college to help them with bills. I slid it into the lock, and it didn't turn. Click, click, nothing. I thought maybe I was doing it wrong. My hands were cold. I tried again. Click. The lock was new, shiny, silver. It wasn't my lock anymore. I knocked. I called Mom's phone. Straight to voicemail. I called Dad. Same. My heart started beating so fast I could hear it in my ears. It was 7 p.m. It was getting dark, and I was standing on the porch of my own home like a stranger. That's when my neighbor, Mrs. Ahmed, stepped out. She looked at me, then looked away quickly. "Beta," she said, her voice soft. "Your father was here this afternoon, with a locksmith. A locksmith. While I was packing my desk. While I was losing the job that helped pay their mortgage. But what I didn't know that day, standing on that porch with my useless key, was that losing my job wasn't the worst thing that would happen to me. And losing my home wasn't the worst thing my parents would do. The worst thing was about to call my phone. By mistake. I slept in my car that night. In the driveway of the house I grew up in. I told myself it was a misunderstanding. That maybe there was a break-in. That maybe they changed the locks for safety. And just forgot to tell me. Forgot to give me a key. People believe the lies that hurt the least. And that lie let me sleep for 3 hours. The next morning, I went to my friend Sana's place. I didn't tell her everything. I just said, "I need a place for a few days." I was too shattered to say the words out loud. My parents locked me out. I called them for 3 days. No answer. I texted. No reply. On day 4, I drove back. My dad's car was there. I knocked until my knuckles were red. Finally, the door opened. Just a crack. It was Mom. Her eyes looked tired. But not sorry. Never sorry. "Zara," she said, like my name was a problem. "You can't stay here anymore." "Why?" My voice cracked. I was still holding my box from work, like proof that I was trying. "I lost my job, Mom. I didn't do anything wrong. I need 2 weeks. Just until You're 26, she cut me off. "It's time you learn. We can't carry you. Your brother never came back home after college. He built his own life. We changed the locks so you would do the same. Carry me." I had paid half their bills for 3 years. I had given up my own apartment to help Dad after his surgery. But none of that mattered now. Now, I was just jobless. A burden. A shame they wanted to shut out. She closed the door. Not slammed, just closed. Like I was a chapter they were done reading. For 2 weeks, I stayed with Sana. I applied to 50 jobs. I cried in the shower so no one would hear. I felt broken in a way I didn't know a person could break. Not just from losing a job, from realizing the people who raised you can look at you in pain and choose to add more. Until everything changed on a Thursday. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I was job hunting. I picked up. Hello. Is this Mrs. Khan? A man's voice asked. Professional. A banker. No, I said. You have the wrong number. This is Zara Khan. That's my mother. Oh, my apologies, he said quickly. I'm from First National Bank. I'm calling about the account transfer for the property at 42 Maple Street. We just need Mrs. Khan to confirm she's moving the deed to her son's name only, as requested. Since the daughter is no longer a resident, the air left my lungs. 42 Maple Street. My home. My parents' home. The house I helped pay for. They weren't just locking me out, they were erasing me, moving the house to my brother's name, because I was no longer a resident. Because they made sure of it. I hung up without saying another word. And for the first time since that night on the porch, I didn't feel broken. I felt clear. I felt cold. I felt ready. They thought changing the locks was the end of my story. They had no idea it was the beginning of theirs. And that phone call, the one they thought was a mistake, it was the only thing they would ever regret more than changing those locks. I didn't call them back. I called a lawyer instead. Her name was Miss Fatima, and when I told her my story, she didn't look at me with pity. She looked at me with fire. Do you have proof you paid the bills? She asked. I did. 3 years of bank transfers. Emails where Dad thanked me for helping with the mortgage. Texts where Mom said, "We couldn't do this without you, Beta." Miss Fatima smiled. Then you didn't just live there, Zara. You invested. And in this state, that gives you rights. It took 4 months. 4 months of court dates. Of my parents sitting across from me, refusing to look at me. Of my brother calling me selfish for tearing the family apart. The same brother who hadn't called me once when I was sleeping in my car. The judge's decision was simple. The house could not be transferred until my financial contribution was settled. My parents had 2 choices. Buy me out for my share, or sell the house and split it. They chose to sell. The for sale sign went up on 42 Maple Street last week. The same house they locked me out of. The same house they tried to give to my brother. Now it belongs to no one. I got a check yesterday. It was enough to put a down payment on my own place. A small apartment, with my name on the lease, with a lock that only my key opens. My mum called me last night. First time in 5 months. Her voice was small. Beta, we didn't mean. We just thought. She didn't finish. She didn't need to. I heard it all in the silence. Regret. The sound of a door closing on them this time. I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just said, I hope Samir lets you stay with him. And I hung up. Because revenge isn't about destroying them. It's about refusing to let them destroy you. It's about taking the key they used to shut you out and using it to unlock your own door. So if you're standing on a porch tonight with a key that doesn't work, I want you to know something. They can change the locks, but they can't change your worth. They can lock you out of a house, but they can't lock you out of your future. Your home isn't a building. It's the moment you decide you don't have to beg to be let in anymore. And that moment, that's when you finally become free.